Intuitive eating is thought to be this holy grail to feel your body, eat intuitively, and just feel good with your body and with your food. But it didn't work for me until I found this one thing that I integrated from integrative therapy that I practice. And this video is all about that, how to make intuitive eating actually work for you. Now, before I share the one thing that changed the whole game for me, why intuitive eating can become like another diet is whenever I lead workshops or lectures about intuitive eating, and I ask people, what do you think intuitive eating is? Most of the time, like 99.9%, I get the response of, well, intuitive eating is when I'm eating when I'm hungry and I'm stopping when I'm satisfied. But this is exactly where it turns into a diet itself. And then women come to me saying, please help me with my eating because I overeat or I don't eat when I'm perfectly hungry and I'm trying to follow this intuitive eating, but I'm just so failing at it. And that's just 2 principles of the whole 10 principles of intuitive eating, which I'm not going to go into this video. But if you're curious, you can check it out at some other channels and information in the books. But nonetheless, whenever I practiced all of the 10 principles, it still didn't work for me because there was missing the key aspect, at least for me. For some people, it might be working, but for me, the key shift was when I got trained into internal family systems and I started applying it to my clients. And I realized that inside of me, there are all of these parts. And we all have those parts. One part that wants to overeat, one part, to overeat, to soothe with food, another part that wants to control and to gain that safety through control. But again, that's a bit of a different conversation to go into the core beliefs and underlying traumatic events, imprints, all these subconscious beliefs about the body, about our safety, our own ability to regulate and to feel okay with the discomfort and to find ways that feel good, which is all very important. But the thing that I want to share in this video is how we grow up in our family. There are 2 types of families when it comes to eating behaviors. Like, okay, this is very big, maybe generalization, but I found it really works. Whenever I'm leading workshops, people really resonate with that, so I decided to share that with you here. So there are 2 roles within us and within families. The structured role, which is the parent role. And the parent role in a family for kids is to plan the food, prepare the food, take care of the groceries, and of the whole structurization process of when is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then what is the kid's role, which is often forgotten in family structures, is the child's role is to feel, to be intuitive, what I want, how I want, when I want, what is nice, what doesn't feel nice in my body. And whenever I ask the women who come to me for their eating behaviors, what was it like in your family and how are you feeling now? I always get the correlation that those women who can't really feel their hunger, their fullness, those women grew up in families where the parent role was overtaken and there was no space for the child's role. So if you're as a child growing up in a family where nobody cares how you feel about food, how much you want, you're forced to eat the whole plate, you cannot have any choice on the plate what you can eat and what you don't want to eat, then no wonder after all of this conditioning when we grow up, it's very hard to tap back into our hunger and fullness signals. For me, there was always scarcity around food in my family, and whenever we would have some meals, it would always be said, you have to finish everything because kids in Africa are starving. And that's why I just had to override all of my fullness signals because I just had to eat everything. And it was really hard to untrain that. So first thing is to notice the patterns. In which area are you living more of? And it can sometimes be that if you grew up in a family where it's very structured, you continue living in the structured way and you just you want the diet plans, and that is one reason why meal plans don't work at all, because it just forces you into that structured role. And that gives you kind of control and safety. And that's why people like diet plans, meal plans, because it's like another form of getting safety through control. But again, that's another topic. There are so many topics when it comes to food, because it's our daily just life we have to eat. And sometimes when people grew up in those structured families, they come into the completely opposite. They're like rebelling, and they become more into the intuitive child's role, where they let themselves eat anything, anytime, and they just graze throughout the whole day. They have no structure, no meal planning, no prepping. They just eat whenever, whatever. So those are the two opposites. And the same comes with families that grew up where there was no structure around food. It was all just eat whenever, whatever. There was no meal timings, which was my family. There was no meal timings. I could just go grab around, like, to the fridge, kitchen, eat whenever, and I would just be snacking the whole day. And that's why it was so hard for me then putting structure into my eating, because I realized that if I'm eating the whole day, my body doesn't feel good. My digestion doesn't work. I need the meal timings. So that was the whole process. So, okay, coming into the practical part, what to do. So you already figured out which category you're falling more into. Is it the intuitive, childish part where you just eat all day, you have no structure around food? Or the overly structured, controlling diets and all of this category of that you have to eat this and you don't really follow your body signals, what do you want to eat and how you want to eat. So what to do? As with all polarities, to look for the common grounds and where you can balance it, how you can have both of those roles. And I love this because my whole journey was about reparenting myself as a loving parent and treating myself not like a harsh critic and, bashing myself and being so hard on myself, but to treat myself like a loving parent who wants the child to feel good. So the assignment for you is to imagine that within yourself you have this loving parent who just takes care of the child, of your inner child. And that parent, their role in your life is to look for a structure that feels good for the child, to allow enough flexibility to ask the child what feels best for them, to shop, to plan, to prep, but allow the child to choose that, you know what, I know that you prepped me this meal, but at the moment I want something else. So that is the balance that we have to all learn how to navigate. And if you're struggling with disordered eating patterns, behaviors, and you're not feeling good within yourself, of course there's so many other layers than just this one thing. But this was the core thing for me that didn't work, that made the intuitive eating work for me. And of course, there's all the 10 principles from the intuitive eating, rejecting the diet mentality, looking into the food police in our minds, and all these other principles. And it all comes down to the respect for our body, doing everything out of respect for our bodies. And I think this whole inner parent and inner child principle really dissects. And within this one principle, within this one exercise of treating yourself like the inner parent treating your inner child, it has a lot of those components of the intuitive eating model. So if you're lost and you just want to try something different and nothing else worked for you in your eating journey, behavior journey, and this doesn't have to only apply to eating. You can apply it to any other area of your life, to treat yourself as this loving parent and what would my inner child want? And that invites a lot of compassion as well, because you wouldn't treat a child with rage and so much harshness. Of course, the child, wants some candies, but okay, we can give you some candies. Maybe we can find a healthier option of the candies that would still satisfy you. And maybe let's eat the candies after a meal so that your sugar spike would be better. So that's where the whole navigation comes in. I know this was quite a convoluted video. I hope that you understood my point and what I wanted to come across. I wanted to share it very raw, honest, not in a very lecture-y type of way, but more just like I'm talking with you in my living room and sharing my journey, what worked, and hopefully inspiring you to try this out. Try this out. How does it feel how does it feel to navigate life with this different model? And whenever you have any need, desire come up, see, can you fulfill that? How is best to approach that? But from that loving space of that loving parent. And if it helps, you can imagine yourself or even put a picture on the mirror of your younger self, whatever, helps you to treat yourself more gently. And whenever you're noticing yourself, talking with yourself harshly, try to remember yourself as a 2-year-old, as a 3-year-old, and would you talk to them that way? And remember that 3-year-old is still within you somewhere. A part of you is still that. And you can develop the part of you that's the wise, loving adult self. And if you feel lost in this journey and you would like for more support, you can always reach out to me. I have a link down below for booking a free call with me, and I would love to support you in any way I can. I hope that this video was helpful, and I see you in the next one.